Have you ever felt, well, just kind of stuck in a gray area? You're not depressed, but you're definitely not firing on all cylinders either. In this explainer, we're going to put a name to that feeling, and we'll uncover the pretty surprising ways our unexpressed emotions can actually impact our physical health.
You know the feeling I'm talking about, right? It's that sense of just being blah. You're functioning, you're getting through your day, but that spark, that zest for life is just missing. There's no big crisis, but there's not a whole lot of joy either. You just feel stuck in a state of meh. So, what's the actual name for this?
Believe it or not, there's a word for it, and just giving it a name is a huge first step to understanding what's going on. The concept is called languishing, so let's break down what that really means. What's so fascinating about this idea, which psychologist Corey Keyes introduced way back in 2002, is what it's not. See, languishing isn't the presence of a mental illness. It's the absence of mental well-being. It's that hollow feeling of just moving through life without a real sense of purpose or joy. Now, it's really important to separate this from clinical depression. When you're languishing, maybe a small win at work or doing a hobby you like can still give you a little flicker of joy. But with depression, that ability to feel happiness is often completely gone, and it can even bring on physical symptoms like messing with your sleep or appetite. The key difference here is really the severity and whether you can still tap into those moments of positivity. So how can you tell if you might be languishing? Well, it might feel like you're disconnected from your friends or community. Or maybe you look at your job and just think, what's the point? You might find yourself missing the passion you used to have for things, feeling like you're just adrift without a map. Do any of these sound a little too familiar? And here's why putting a name to languishing is so critical. While it isn't depression now, it's a huge risk factor for it later. I mean, look at this research. People who are languishing are more than twice as likely to develop depression down the road compared to people who are really thriving. It's like a warning light on your dashboard telling you something needs to change. Okay, so we've put a name to that blah feeling, languishing. But what happens when the disconnect goes even deeper? What if you don't even have the words for your own emotions? What if you can't tell if you're sad or angry or maybe just tired? This takes us to an even more fundamental idea. We're talking about a phenomenon called alexithymia. You can think of it as a kind of emotional blindness, and it represents a really profound difficulty in the whole realm of feeling. The name itself, which was coined back in the 70s, tells you everything you need to know. It comes from Greek, and it literally means no words for feelings. Now, it's not that people with alexithymia don't have emotions, it's that they don't have the conscious awareness or the vocabulary to figure out what they're experiencing on the inside. And get this isn't some super rare condition. Studies suggest that about 1 in 10 people experience alexithymia. Think about that for a second. In a room with 10 of your friends or coworkers, one of them might be seriously struggling just to understand their own emotional landscape. So what does this actually look like in day-to-day life? Well, it might be an inability to tell the difference between feeling anxious and just having an upset stomach. It often comes with a way of thinking that's very concrete, very logical, sometimes shutting out emotional responses altogether. And it can even affect your inner world, leading to a limited imagination with not a lot of daydreams or fantasies. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Whether we're talking about languishing or alexithymia, this kind of emotional disconnect, it doesn't just stay in your head. It has powerful, real, tangible effects on your body. This is where we see that incredible mind-body connection in action. This quote from Jefferson University really gets to the heart of it. Emotions aren't just these abstract ideas. They are physical events happening in your body. And when we ignore them or try to push them down, that energy doesn't just disappear. It's got to go somewhere, right? And it very often shows up in our bodies. And the numbers on this are absolutely staggering. Some studies have found that over 80% of all doctor visits have a social or emotional component. Just let that sink in for a minute. The vast majority of physical issues that send people to the doctor have roots in their emotional well-being. And you can see just how this plays out across all kinds of medical fields. What a heart doctor might see as chest pain, or a gut specialist diagnoses as IBS, could actually have its origins in unprocessed emotion. We're talking about very real physical symptoms, but their root cause might be emotional pain that's been converted into a physical sensation. And I want to be clear, this isn't some fringe theory. It's a core idea in integrative medicine.
leading research centers or proving over and over that you can't treat the body without also considering the mind. You just can't separate our physical health from our emotional health. They're two sides of the very same coin.
Okay, so after identifying these pretty big challenges, what's the path forward? How do we start to move away from languishing or from a state of emotional disconnect and move toward a life where we're actually flourishing? Let's look at some real actionable pathways.
The path forward isn't about trying to eliminate bad feelings. It's really about building a better relationship with all of your feelings. It starts with rediscovering what truly brings you a sense of fulfillment, and then accepting that difficult emotions aren't your enemies. They're signals. They're trying to tell you when your actions are out of sync with your core values. The goal is to listen to those signals and use your own unique strengths to steer yourself back on course.
Ultimately, the goal with all of this isn't to slap a label on yourself or to self-diagnose. It's about building self-awareness. Just giving a name to these feelings can give you a sense of power. It provides a new language to understand your inner world, and hopefully a new motivation to take care of your whole self, mind, and body. And so that leaves us with one final question to think about. If we actually stop, get quiet, and truly listen, what are our emotions, even the vague, uncomfortable, or unnamed ones, trying to tell us about our lives?